Hi, it's Jodie, and this is Coffee Conversations, a show where we speak to a series of inspiring women from around the world who are challenging today's status quo. We're going to be speaking with Lina Nielsen. She is a long-term friend of mine and also happens to be my training partner. We're going to delve into a conversation about her experiences in India and how she became a qualified yoga teacher. So yeah, I'm really excited to have this conversation. Let's get started. Today we have Lina Nielsen. She's a British 400-meter hurdler who recently won a silver medal at the 2020 British Champs. She's also a qualified yoga teacher, and she's a yoga coach for Genis Fitness. She also happens to be my training partner and a good friend of mine. So welcome to Lina. So we're going to kick things off with asking, what is your go-to coffee order?
That's a good question, actually, but it depends on like the shop and my mood. So like if the shop offers a batch brew or like a drip filter, then that's what I'll go for. But not every coffee shop does that. So otherwise it's an oat milk flat white.
I'm with you on the batch brew for sure. So if I'm right, you used to be a barista, right?
Yeah. Yeah, back in 2017 to 18.
Amazing. How did you get into that? Tell us a little bit about that journey into being a barista.
Do you know what? Like, I didn't even apply for the job. That's the thing. Like, I just got given it. It's quite funny. I went to I had this local coffee shop where I used to live in East London, and like I went there wanting like their bag of beans, and the guy behind the counter was like really talking to me. He was like, "Oh, like, do you want me to grind it for you?" And I was like, "No, I've got my own grinder at home." And he was like, "Oh, really? Like, how do you make it?" And I started listing all the different ways that I would make coffee. He's like, "Oh, it sounds like you know your stuff." And I was like, "Yeah, the only thing I need to learn is how to do latte art." And he was like, "Well, if you want, I can teach you." And then he taught me how to do it. And like within like 3 tries, I did like my heart. And he was like,
"Amazing."
He's like, "You're a natural." And then he was like, "If you want to work here, you can work here." I was like, "You're being serious?" And he was like, "Yeah, you can work here." And I was like, "Okay." And then I literally started my first shift the day after, and that was how I started it. And I always think like in life, if you get given things like that, you just have to like pursue it.
100%.
And it was like the best experience. Yeah,
I love that.
So sick.
Is that something that you find like important, having something on the side of just doing track?
For sure. I've always done something aside from track. Like I was a barista. Like when I left university, I was a barista, and then I had like other part-time jobs, and I'm a yoga teacher. And like I've noticed how important it is to have something on the side during this lockdown because I'm so bored and like everything's just track. And it's like I kind of miss having, you know, something to do in the morning, which is track, and then chilling for a little bit, and then having something else like another life in the evening or like afternoon.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's super important. How on lockdown, how has lockdown been for you? How are you finding that whole situation? Obviously training's been a bit interrupted and we don't have access to gyms and stuff, so like how has that whole experience been for you?
So like this one's not so bad. It was the first one that kind of took me by surprise because that was when I my whole life switched, because it was like track and work, and then it was like nothing. No track, no work. And like just being at home for that long was like really, really, like I found myself so bored and like just wanted to get out of the house, and there was nothing open. So that one was really hard. This one I feel like we've all adapted, like we know what to do. We kind of adapt to grass sessions, and even this time in the winter, like we don't have to go fast on the track, so it's fine. But when it was like just before competing, I was like, what am I supposed to do? Yeah, and I went through like weeks where I wasn't training at all. Like I just didn't want to go to the track or just go to the park or whatever. So it was very inconsistent. But I'm managing this one. Yeah,
for sure. I feel like it was so hard to maintain motivation, especially for us as athletes. I feel like we're all very like regimented people. Like we really appreciate structure. So I feel like when that structure kind of gets thrown out the window, it's definitely hard to maintain motivation. What is it they say? When you don't have motivation, you have to have dedication or determination.
Discipline.
Discipline. That's the one.
Discipline. I'm still working on that one.
So am I. Discipline's definitely it's a bit of a hard one for sure.
Yeah.
So let's get into a little bit about your yoga. I actually really want to hear this story. So you were obviously trying to qualify for Doha. things didn't quite go to plan, and then you kind of felt like you needed some time off, and you decided to go to India.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that process, how you came to that decision.
So like I've never done like a long season before. Like that was like my first like 4-month racing season, and like being an athlete is quite difficult for me anyway. Like I struggle to identify myself as an athlete. Like I feel like a lot of us experience like imposter syndrome and stuff. So when I got really close, when I got close to the world standard, I was like, oh my God, I'm so close. Like it will take me one race and I'll get it. Like I was focusing on that so much that like I lost like the focus, and like was running like trying to do mad stripe pattern that I wasn't ready for. And like, the whole season just went downhill from like the moment I PB'd. And then the trials didn't go to plan. You were there. You probably saw me crying my eyes out. And I literally was like crying to my coach, and I was like, I'm done with the sport. I don't want to do it anymore. And I was like, I can't think like this. Like I need to, do something that's going to pick up my spirits and stuff. And I always wanted to go away by myself. Like I'd never traveled by myself, and it just made sense to go to like a yoga retreat. Like at first I was going to go on a retreat and just do yoga. But then I was like looking at retreats and the teacher training, and there wasn't really much difference between the two. Like you did all the meditation and philosophy and stuff. And I was like, well, I might as well just get my qualification at the same time. So it was literally like I was in my room at this point. I was like 3 days in my bed to get out of my bed because I was like so down in the dumps. It's like with track and field. And then I literally was just like so then I was just like, what am I going to do? So then I just was like researching, and it took me I was researching from like midnight until about 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was at 3 o'clock in the morning when I booked a one-way ticket to India. And I was like, yep, I'm gonna go, this is what I need to do. And even just doing that, like just booking the ticket was an empowering step for me. And
that is so huge. I feel like you said, just taking the first step is always such a big thing. I feel like, especially for me, I feel like a lot of people taking that first leap is always the hardest part. Like I feel like I always have so many ideas that I want to get off the ground or like get going, and taking that first step is always the hardest part. Okay, so you booked the flight, you decided you were going to do it, and then you were out there and you had like no internet, no nothing, right? You had no contact with anyone. What was that experience like? Like it must have been, especially with the mindset you were in at the time, like that must have been quite refreshing, a bit of a reset, really.
Yeah, definitely. So like the first place I had to go to was Delhi, because like where I did my yoga teacher training was like so far up India, like you had to do so many trips and stuff. So I decided to stay in Delhi for a little bit. And then when I got there, like the SIM card that I bought wasn't working. So again, I was just wasn't connected, and I was trying to make my way around this city with 25 million people with no internet. I was like, what am I going to do? So that was scary. And then like I was there for about 2 days, saw all of it, like Taj Mahal, all of like Delhi sites and stuff. Yeah, it's incredible, honestly, doing it all by myself as well. Like no one was like,
you can run on your own schedule. Yeah, I love that.
It was sick. And then I had to take like a 3 a.m. flight from Delhi to like this little town, this city called Dehradun, which is like really far up India. And like I didn't realize how big India was. So when I saw the map when I was planning my trip, it looked like it was like London to Manchester. It looked like that kind of distance. I was like, 45-minute flight. It was like 8-hour drive or a 5-hour train, and it was so close. So that's when I realized India was huge. And like I got to this little city called Dehradun, and like it was like 4:30 in the morning at this point. I hadn't had any sleep. I was jet lagged, and I still had to take like an hour and a half drive to Rishikesh, which is like the little town that it's known as the capital of yoga. I think the Beatles went there and like built an ashram. Amazing. So it's like, it's literally like hippie central. It's like the most magical place in the whole world. But even even when I got there, it was actually quite crazy. Everyone that was on my little flight with the propellers were carrying like yoga mats, and like they were talking about yoga trainers. Everyone was, it was crazy. So like I was talking to different people on this little flight, and I actually ended up running into lots of them when I was doing my when I was going around Rishikesh. But then even when I got to Rishikesh, which was like the main town, I was like half an hour away from that. So I was literally in the middle of nowhere. At this point, my SIM card's not working, the one that I bought from Delhi. I think the guy just sold me like a random SIM card. So even when I got there, they were like, yeah, we have Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi was literally, you had to go to like this corner of the ashram, like the yoga school, and like to hold your phone up to then get connected. So I just realized, okay, over the next month, I'm not going to be connected to internet. And I was, yeah, I was panicking because I was like, damn it, like my sister's like in Doha, like I need to go watch her race and stuff. And I just was like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch that. So yeah. Yeah, so then yeah, I just didn't. I think it was quite nice because I think the pain of like not being able to qualify, like, and then not seeing that was kind of like, it was probably a good thing. So I feel like everything happened for that reason, for me to just not see that. So I was quite happy, and like, yeah, I just had no connection. And like, if people wanted to message me, they were sending me emails, and if I could connect to my email, then I was getting this like long letter from like my friends and stuff. It was nice. It was like being back in the day, just, you know, disconnecting and connecting to myself.
Not feeling the pressure to reply to 8 million people all at once. That's really
literally cool. It was so good.
I love that. So when you're out there, I've looked at, because I've looked into my yoga teacher training as well. It's definitely you actually inspired me to do it. I saw you go out there and I was like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. So yeah, it's definitely something I've looked into, but the schedules look super intense. Like really,
that's
like
the thing.
6 a.m. to like 9 p.m. How did you find that? Like, was it, obviously we're used to working hard, but like that seems like a whole other level of intensity.
Yeah, it was nice. When I was researching, I did see like all the schedules and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I could do that. Like, I'm an athlete, yeah, I can wake up at and do all that. When they gave us the schedule, I was like, oh wow, it's like a 5:45 wake up, and like they make you go on a hike, which you'd love, up like the Himalayan foothills and stuff. So they were like, make sure to pack
You're really selling me,
honestly. And the thing is, people ask me like, can I just do it online? And I'd say, yeah, you probably could, but like, it's an experience to go actually go, especially somewhere like India, which is like where yoga's born. It's like to do it so traditionally. Yeah. So it was like 5:45 wake up, and then like no breakfast. It was like hike on an empty stomach, come back after about an hour. So we hiked up as far as we can go. And like, I was posting pictures on like my Instagram story when I did manage to connect, of like just like the view of the Ganges from like these mountains. So it was like incredible view. So it was so worth waking up at 5:45 in the morning. Also, there was no coffee.
Oh my goodness.
So that's another thing that when they told me, so it was like the first day, it was like orientation, and we did this like fire ceremony. So it was like cleansing, you know, your aura and your spirit. And I was like, I'm so into this. And then they were like, they told us the schedule. I was like, yeah, I could do it. And they were like, so there's no meat, no coffee. And I was like, sorry, I didn't sign up for this. No coffee. And then I was like, damn it, I'm gonna have to do that. So like, honestly, the first few days was like horrendous. Like, I had the coffee headaches that you get when you
caffeine withdrawals, all of that.
Yeah, and obviously waking up at 5:45, I was like, damn it, like my go-to would be go get coffee, and like there was no coffee, and I was like, shit. So like the hike did wake me up, and then after about 3 or 4 days, like I was waking up naturally at like 5:30, wide awake. Obviously like not having the coffee and waking up naturally, and I literally wasn't waking up groggy. I was waking up wide awake, ready to start the day. So it was a good thing, I think, to detox from coffee, but I wouldn't do it again unless I need to. So yeah, that was that. We come back from the hike, and we still don't have breakfast. And it's like, at this point, it's like 8 a.m. Almost 8 a.m. So they'd give us like a bit of fruit and some herbal tea, and then we had to start 2 hours of like the physical practice. So 2 hours on an empty stomach, and the first practice was Ashtanga yoga, which is like the hard strengthening yoga.
Oh my goodness.
But it's actually so good to do on an empty stomach. I feel like your body finds strength from somewhere.
That's for sure.
Yeah, so that was that. Then finally at 10 a.m, so after waking up at 5:45, we then could have breakfast. So it was always so good. And it was like, all the food was given to you. So it was all included in this like package. And it was all vegetarian and like so organic, so raw.
That's so good.
And so
it's like a whole full body cleanse.
Yeah, it was so good. Honestly, the food was incredible. I wish I could replicate that food. And then it was like, a mix between either a meditation class, a philosophy class, and anatomy class. It changed day by day.
Amazing.
Yeah, lunch in between. And the thing is, at the school there was 2 groups doing their yoga teachers training. It was my group, which was a group of 8 people from all over the world, and another group of 8 who, yeah, again from all over the world. So it was like 16 people all having lunch and dinner and breakfast at the same place.
So cool.
Yeah, and you got to know these like different people from doing different things, and like from all different corners of the world. We had people from Australia, we had people from Canada, like 2 different parts of the world, and like we all got along because I feel like it's all the same people, like from the same wavelength.
Sure, everybody has like the same collective mindset.
Yeah, it was amazing. Honestly, the people I met there, friends for life.
For sure.
So good.
It must have been so nice, like you said, to come together as like a community and meet different people. like you said, I feel like everybody obviously kind of went there for a reason. They were all on their own little paths. So it must have been, really nice to connect over that in that space.
Yeah, it was honestly so incredible. And all the teachers as well were so knowledgeable, because I went there thinking like, I need to take a break from being an athlete.
For sure.
So I was like, when I get to the school, I'm not going to tell anyone, not anyone, that I'm a runner. I'm just going to say, you know, I'm a receptionist, because that's what I was doing at the time. From London. That's what I say. And then we did our first anatomy class, and like all the teachers have so much knowledge, and we all had to sit on the floor. Like there was no like chairs. It was like you had to learn to sit properly. That's what they would tell us. We like sat there cross-legged. But then after a while, like I was getting uncomfortable, so I extended my legs in front of me, and like the anatomy teacher was like explaining. He looked at all of us, and he looked at my feet, and he goes, "You're a runner." I went, "Sorry." He was like, "You run, you do something fast."
Dorsiflexion.
From my feet, he knew, and I was like, "What the hell?" And then after that, everyone was asking questions, and it eventually slipped out that I was like a runner, and I was like, "Damn it!" I was trying to not be a runner. So yeah,
that's
we ended up
amazing.
Discovering it.
How was that, the anatomy side of things? Like, because they obviously must have come at it from a slightly different angle to what we're used to. What kind of things did they teach you in that? That's quite interesting.
So the teacher was like, honestly, so knowledgeable. He was very into like biomechanics of sport, which is why he knew like that I was a runner.
That's amazing.
So he tried to teach it from like a yoga perspective. So we literally started from the feet up. So he looked at feet, and then we looked at poses and what the feet are doing in a certain pose. So it was like we learned all the bones, muscles, tendons and stuff, but in terms of what your feet and those tendons and muscles would be doing in a certain yoga pose. So it was very kind of like an applied way of learning anatomy. So I ended up picking it up quite quickly because I could just visualize like a good,
like base knowledge as well.
Yeah, so because I was a bit scared of the anatomy, because I just wanted to do all like the meditation and philosophy and stuff, and I was like, I don't really want to do science. I don't really want to do that. And then
I need a break from that.
Yeah, but then it was like quite nicely taught that I was so interested in it, and I ended up doing like extra reading.
Amazing.
When we ended up, so at the yoga school Monday to Saturday, which was like in the middle of nowhere. So we were literally I was with 15 other people for like Monday, Saturday. And then Sunday they would organise a minibus so we could go to Rishikesh, which is like the nearest town, because there was no shops, nothing where we were. It was like just cows, the river, the mountains, and the school. It was like, that was it, and monkeys. And then we got to go to the town on Sundays. So we'd spend the whole day in the town on Sunday. We'd go to like these cool cafes that overlooked like the river. And I was like, we were all sat in a cafe, and I was like, I'm going to go to the bookshop. And I was like, because I saw it on the way to the cafe, and like I was with these other guys from our school, and I was like, I'm going to go to the bookshop. And I came back with like these 3 anatomy books, and they were like, you enjoy anatomy? I was like, yeah, I do enjoy anatomy.
Yes,
I didn't think I was going to like it. But I did. I really, really enjoyed it. So good.
That sounds like such an amazing experience, such a transformative experience, and like to do it on your own and like take your own initiative must have been, like you said, really empowering. I feel like, especially as women, like we're not really encouraged to kind of get up and go and do things on our own, especially traveling the world on our own. True. Like I feel like it's quite a lot of women are really nervous to travel on their own, but it's such a liberating experience. Personally, I love traveling. I like doing stuff on my own in general, but traveling on your own is definitely a hugely empowering experience. How do you think that yoga experience and being out there and being like completely disconnected and kind of experiencing new things, how do you think that played back into your approach with track? Because I feel like that would have kind of changed your whole mindset to things, especially as like, I feel like you were saying, especially in track, you can get so caught up in, it's always the next thing, and it can feel really disheartening when things don't go to plan. Like you were saying, like when trials didn't go to plan and you were in tears and like kind of get stuck, like track kind of becomes your be all and end all. Did that experience and being disconnected and kind of just having a completely different experience aside from that, like did that change your mentality coming back into it?
Yeah, 100%. Like when I was doing all the meditation stuff, we were sat there for like an hour just doing meditation, and because I was so disconnected, like I had to deal with like myself and my emotions 100%. That probably I didn't want to deal with before. So there were things that I was suppressing that I just wasn't like addressing. So then I was sat there thinking, because I used to do this thing myself, but then to be an athlete means you have to kind of give up some of yourself and turn into like this basically like robot. And I was like, why do I do that? yeah, and I was like, why am I trying to dissociate myself? And I think because I've had so many setbacks in track, like I didn't want to be disappointed anymore. So like
I really feel that.
I was, yeah, like I was being two different people, and I was like, you need to find a way to enjoy your journey and kind of give yourself to track, but not in a way that's going to like take away from who you are. So like I ended up kind of finding ways that I was going to approach sessions and approach race days and stuff. So yeah, I did deal with it quite like when I was doing these meditations, and like when I came back, training was different. Like I wasn't like going in like as an autopilot or like going in like, oh, I have to be here. It was kind of like, okay, what am I going to get out today for me? And another thing, it was like, yeah, it was like trying to find like my own path, because I feel like a lot of people would compare me to like my twin sister, and that was 100%. One of the things that I had, that I dealt with, that I didn't deal with very well. And I was like, okay, look, you need to be okay with your journey. You need to stop listening to people that say, why aren't you as quick as your sister, and da. And I found that, kind of like just sit with myself, sit with my thoughts, and I was like, yeah, like I'm just gonna brush those comments off and literally just be okay with my journey. And like once I found that, like training was completely different, honestly. Like going into training was like, yeah, I'm just doing this for me. Like, yeah, let's do this. Obviously lockdown didn't help the whole situation. For sure. So it would have been nice to kind of see how that played off with races coming to the outdoor season 2020, but lockdown kind of changed the trajectory of that.
I think, COVID has definitely changed quite a few people's paths. But yeah, I absolutely love that. I can definitely relate to having two different selves. That's definitely something that I went through, and trying to merge those two, but without, completely giving yourself to track. That's I think that's such an important thing to learn. I think as athletes we can definitely become, especially as female athletes, I think it's really hard to be a female athlete. We're obviously naturally like emotional beings, and I feel like we have to kind of sit in our masculine energies a lot when we're doing track. So I think it's really important to not let that kind of affect you, and still be able to embody being your female self, but also not let that kind of take over your life. So I love that.
100%.
So yoga's obviously opened up a lot of doors for you. You're now working with one of your idols. You've been taken on by Genesis Fitness as their yoga coach, which is incredible. Talk me through a little bit about that. I love that this yoga is now opening new doors for you and new avenues. That's really cool.
I'm so happy, because like when I came back, I kind of started to build this yoga teacher kind of persona, and like I could post it on Instagram and stuff. And like I started posting like some of my flows. So I did Friday flows in the first lockdown, and then I posted like a video of me just doing like this soul flow, and then like 2 months later, like out the blue, like I found Jessica Ennis liking like a lot of my things. It was like on my likes on Instagram, it was like she's like this post, this. Like, why is she liking all my posts? Like, what's going on? And then like someone from her team messaged me on Instagram and was like, we love what you do, like would you like to work with us? And I was like, yeah, I would. So that was really, really cool, because obviously I've looked up to her for so long.
For sure. And like I said, I love that yoga is kind of opening up other avenues for you, and kind of enabling you to create like your own persona and your own space. I love that. It feels like you're really coming into yourself. We love to see that. We do.
I'm so glad I found it, because it kind of does kind of work with track, because it's like movements, like, and I don't really feel like there's enough kind of yoga teachers out there that understand how athletes' bodies move.
For sure.
And there are some, but there's not a lot. So it's like, it's nice to kind of have that niche that's quite 100%. Like empty, and I can work into that.
You can really fill out and put your own stamp on things. I love that. Oh, this has been such a lovely chat. To kind of round things off, I've decided that we're going to do like 5 quick fire questions, just to bring things to a nice little close. So whichever one you answer, I will probably be judging you for your answers. So are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I would say extrovert. Like I'll talk to anybody,
Really?
Everybody. Yeah.
I had you pegged as an introvert. Okay, that's
Thing
interesting.
is, like, I'm quite shy at first, but then like I'll open up
but
and
you
like
open up
just
for
go.
sure. Okay,
Yeah.
that's an interesting one. Are you a stickler for schedule or a wave rider?
Definitely a wave rider. Everything's done last minute.
Love that. Love that. You've got to learn to do that for sure. What are you currently reading or watching?
Currently reading Emotional Intelligence, which is a very good book. Watching Grey's Anatomy all day, every day.
Is that still going? Are they still bringing out new seasons?
16.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but I've just started it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I stopped.
Yes, I'm on like season 4.
When something happened. I won't ruin it for you or for anyone watching, but I did. I was a huge fan, but then I stopped at a certain point when I felt like. But I'm not going to go into that for you. What is your go-to meal?
Oh, any Indian curry, butter chicken curry with naan, papadums, the whole lot.
I love that. That's a good answer. I like that one. I love curry. Anything that's like cooked in one pot, I'm here for. And finally,
so much
and this is the most important question: tea or coffee?
Coffee, but I didn't even have to say coffee.
I knew you were gonna pull through for me on that one. I appreciate that. Oh, Lena, it's been so good to have you on. You were my first person, so this has been a fun experience, and it's been great to learn about your yoga experiences and hearing a bit more about that. That was really cool. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the rest of your day and your 1 p.m. yoga flow.
Thank you. Enjoy your day.
You too.